This is Justin AMZN on Monday, August 26th, 2019, taking a look at the pre-market and how things played out today. So I'm going to jump right in and just point out a couple things. So I made a new low today compared to Friday, and this trapped a whole lot of bears because anyone going bearish here, it just got bought back up within the same 5 minute. Had some really small candles here and started to bounce. And let's just zoom in on today. There's a lot of different patterns on here. So let me draw what I'm seeing and we can jump into some options. So first thing I'm seeing is kind of this triangle, but also if you just draw this straight across here, you got some support here. We went down like this, retested, went down, made that hammer, came back up, went down again. That's an inverted head and shoulders. It looks like it's just retesting the neckline a bunch until it finally, it breaks down. More bears jumping on here, more bears jumping on here, and then it just runs higher. Does another S curve and then up. That was really bad. S curve, there we go, something like that. Okay, so lots of just zigzags all over the place, and to get your bearings on a day like today compared to how things went on Friday. You just got to take it a couple candles at a time or one candle at a time and just look for those key candles. So the big one, let me see if I can do a spotlight thing. The main candle was this one. It had an incredible bounce off of 1747. I mean, this candle, I can't see the price. Okay, let's see. This candle, is it going to work? 1747 was the low. Yep. This candle pushes way down to 43.51 and then comes back up and closes above the prior candle. This candle, it's a miniature hammer compared to that one, inside candle, and then this one is the breakout above these three and has a low right back down into 1747, 13 cents below 1747. 1747 was the price to be buying today. Not always going to be the price. Looking at the daily like this, we bounced way back here. We just plunged through it here. And this is in a great location that if we do continue bearish, it should take out this low. Very clearly closing below this low and indicate, okay, it's going lower. For right now, it looks like this is a great place to bounce and to buy. And if this turns into some sort of a triple bottom, great. Let's buy. Let's ride it back up to, 1830-ish and see what we're going to do from there, But back into the 5-minute, we can look at this hammer and see what you could have done at that price off of that support. And it didn't really get into any other lines other than rolling over from this one, this uptrend channel today. So if you were buying here, let's just focus on that. Here's the calls. This is 1,800 calls right at 930. That was the hammer. You could have been getting in, with a move above. So let's see, it would have been like 525 by 450, or give it a little bit more room, 525 by 425, and that would have only worked for like an R maybe, and then it came right back down and gave you the same entry again, and then that would have worked for a little more than an R. 1,800 call just wasn't the right one to get into. So okay, let's go a little closer. Let's go to the 1775 call and see what was going on here. This wasn't too far out of the money, still out of the money. See kind of what happened here. So this one has much lower volume. You can see in here, a little more expensive. So this was the hammer candle at 930. And, the next candle was inside, and then this candle. Okay, you could have been getting in like 13 by 12. And that would have moved up to 15 pretty quickly. Got any 2R. Okay, that works. Giving you the same entry here, 13 by 12, and that would have moved up to 15 again for 2R, or maybe holding a little longer to 3R, maybe. Or if you just did, okay, here's 2R, here's 2R. Oh, look, again, I could buy at 13 and stop it down at 12 and ride it up for 2R to 15. That's a 6R. So 2, 2, and 2 is another 6R. And then this one didn't quite come down to 13, so I can't count that one. But same trade, same option, same setup, just buying 13 by 12, worked 3 times, worked here, and worked here, and didn't quite work here. It just didn't pull back far enough, showing on the options price. Okay, still 6R on a Monday, and just letting the same trade work. That's great. You can go a little closer, and this would have been um, right at the money as we pulled back, and then getting right back in the money after the hammer. So this was much wider. Even this candle had a range of 120. And so getting in above and a stop below, I mean, this candle was a nice hammer, but it's a $2 range. So that would have been a little harder to trade. You may have been waiting for a $100 range candle, and this would have been a little bit closer to that, but it's exactly, right at $1. It's 98 cents, so, or 98 bucks. So, you could have been getting into this one 26.50 by 25.50, and again, more expensive, but it moved much more than 2R. Moved all the way up from 26.50 up to 31.50. So that would have been a nice 5R had you exited right at the high. Probably not. So probably would have gotten like 4R on that one, maybe 3R, something like that. But then we had the same setup again here, getting in 26.50 by 25.50 over here later in the day, and that would have worked for the same gain up to like 5R or something, or 4R, or 3R, any of that would have worked. So being a Monday, being the very next day after a big sell-off, it totally makes sense that we retrace them. We did a lot of that retracement pre-market, where we actually gapped up this morning from where we had closed on Friday and chopped around just to sell off and recover again. So on the day, we really didn't do too much. The open and the close are very, very close together. The open and the close, let's see, is only about $2 apart, less than $2 apart. So it's a $2 body there, much larger lower wick than upper wick, and really just shows that there's both sides of the market playing out. There's the bears hopping on, pushed it down, and the bulls came back in and were higher. So we're just going to continue to watch and see how things move around. Look for some more of these patterns. Look for another possible move down and a hammer like this down to this level. We were trying to do that. If we zoom in on Friday, we're trying to do that here with this candle, a little bit of this candle. This is an inverted hammer, but we're trying to get some bouncing going. This is not quite a hammer, but still has the same idea, the same sentiment, where you have much larger lower wick. And then just today, the hammer worked here and here and here, and I guess that was the main ones. So waiting for the full pattern, this inverted head and shoulders. Waiting till it broke out and retested didn't really work today. You got to anticipate where you look for a bounce, and then even people who are buying the pullback into the neckline, it's an obvious setup that you're going to buy here and a stop down here, and this was those people getting stopped out. And then as it starts to bounce here, it's like, well, if it did it once, it could do it again, and it did again and again, just to make sure we're knocking out, the bears were knocking out the bulls. And then once it got down here, it really started to move up. The 17, let's see, the low here, off by 13 cents on the lows here. Kind of a tweezerish bottom, but nothing else really substantial about this price, other than there's that hammer there, and the option price is comparable for this option, this level on the option, this level on the option, and this level on the option. So we ultimately today we're making higher lows. We were making slightly lower highs until we just made this one at the end of the day, making a new high on the day. So other than that, if you discount this last 5-minute candle, we would be making lower lows and lower highs and higher lows all day, which sets this up to be a triangle. And it looks like we just got the breakout of that triangle right at close. So if we zoom out, we can see kind of the triangle on the day, like this and like this, and we're breaking out, and then it'll be a question of, okay, where could we pull back to and then bounce? I would guess, and it's just a guess, that we could actually retest back down to this low or take it out slightly. Bears thinking, oh, it's rolling over. Bulls saying, well, it bounced here before. It could do it again and hop again. And it would just also kind of present with that idea of it shouldn't really be down here. If it's really going to bounce, it shouldn't be down here. And it could very quickly move up. I don't know if it will move up as quickly as we saw Friday, this kind of breakdown, but totally possible. Again, the alternative is we had a really nice rally off this level. Why not come back all the way down to it, count that as support, and see if we can get another bounce down here? So either way, I'm saying potentially a move lower, and we'll see where it starts to bounce. And you really want to look for the trade once it's moving in your direction. So once it's moving, if it's pulling back some more, once it's moving bullish, now if it gaps up, it's a bullish retest gap. We could get back into this channel. We could come back into the high here. We come back into today's highs, anywhere from the open to these candles here in the midday, or this one. You know, any number of possibilities can happen. Let's see kind of where things play out. It makes sense to retrace some more, to have a little more bullishness come in. I mean, even if we do something from here like we did here and bounce for a couple days, I mean, that still works. I was trying to look back a little bit to see, okay, when we were in a downtrend before, we didn't touch the 21 for a while. What kind of happened? And we had this choppiness here, but we had earnings in the mix, and that plunged us lower just to recover. Finally touched the 21, but still lower again. I'm not really seeing that here. We're staying below the 21. That is a clear resistance right now. We gapped past it this time. We gapped past it this time. We traded into it here, and collapsed. You know, the 21 has been something that has been a bit of a, I guess, just kind of a magnet where it's, you know, not letting you touch it. It's just pushing it one way or the other. So it pushed it down. Here it comes again. We'll see if it gaps up above it in a few days, or if it's going to push it back down just like it did here and push against. It just doesn't really seem to want to trade into that price. Hasn't done that since back here. So since back here, we're still making higher lows, and it's just a matter of, are we done making a low, or are we going to have it any more low? So I don't know that. We'll just have to keep an eye on things and be ready to trade it. So hope this helps. This is Justin AMZN. Thanks.